Cars 3 can be summarized by a quote from Thomas Hardy that says, "Time changes everything, except something within us which is always surprised by change." In our lives, we've all faced change, whether gradual or sudden. Whether it's athletes at the top of their game slowly realizing that they can't move the way they used to move in their prime, and they eventually have to quit their sport. Or the agonizing revelation that your partner is basically cheating on you. We've probably been there, some of us. In these two scenarios, the constants are time and change. One can't happen without the other, which brings us to Cars 3, released in 2017. In the first Cars movie, we saw a young, arrogant Lightning McQueen, who was full of talent, pride, had no friends, and above all, even with his massive success, he wasn't happy. However, after finding himself in Radiator Springs, all that changed, where he found himself a mentor, a partner, friends, family, and above all, he was happy and fulfilled. In the third movie, Lightning McQueen is a seasoned veteran in the sport of NASCAR. However, the biggest change we see in Lightning's journey in the beginning is the loss and absence of his mentor, Doc Hudson. However, that change never really seemed to affect McQueen, as throughout the beginning of the film, he showed off all the lessons Doc taught him before his death. That being humility, good sportsmanship, and the importance of friendship and family. In the beginning, Lightning is doing what he does best, racing and winning. It's safe to say that he was at the top of his game even as a veteran racer. Then everything changed when the rookie Jackson Storm stepped onto the scene.
It's Jackson Storm for the win!
Who not only defeated Lightning McQueen and his racing veteran buddies, but he did so effortlessly. The look on Lightning's face after the race is a look that most of us are very familiar with. Let me explain. Let's say you're in a relationship and all of a sudden your partner starts acting weird. They don't text you as much as they used to. They don't want to spend as much time with you anymore. They become more secretive and distant. You feel deep down in your soul that anytime, if not soon, a change is about to occur, whether you like it or not. I believe that that is the feeling McQueen had once Jackson Storm stepped onto the scene. It also didn't help that Storm was a carbon copy of Lightning's personality from the first film. The writing was on the wall. Storm and the next generation of racers were younger, faster, and more capable than McQueen and all the other veteran racers. Then came the reset. Racing teams started pulling their old veteran racers and started replacing them with the new generation of racers. Cal Weathers, who was a veteran racer and a close friend to McQueen, voluntarily retired, where he told McQueen this.
I asked my uncle once how I'd know when it was time to stop. You know what he said? The youngsters will take it.
Such a simple statement, but the weight behind it is immense. To keep it simple, Cal meant that your environment will tell you the time for change has arrived. Whether it's a dead-end job that you can't stand anymore, an abusive relationship, or frequent visits to the hospital due to poor lifestyle choices. Cal accepted change and decided to move on by retiring. Then I saw this scene.
Sorry, Brick. My mind's made up. I'm giving your number to someone new.
Hey, I had 2 wins last year.
Believe it or not, we've all been there. As we tried to bargain with change, whether it's the passing of a loved one, the departure of a spouse or a partner, the sudden end of a job, we subconsciously try to make the other party recognize the sacrifice, the effort, and the dedication we put in with an effort to delay the inevitable or evade change completely. McQueen, on the other hand, decided to fight the change and retire on his own terms. During the warm-up lap in the second last race between McQueen and Storm, although sad, it shows Lightning alone as one of the last standing veterans in a changing sport. To where Jackson Storm emphasizes this by asking Lightning,
Hey, champ, where'd all your friends go?
You see, change is a lonely thing sometimes, and we often face it alone, scared and traumatized. I personally went through the same after I got my heart broken in 2022. The agony of trying to make sense of sudden change with no one to turn to is a different kind of pain. And it's not because there's no one there. Sometimes it's because no one can relate to you. In Lightning's case, all his racing friends had disappeared, and the only man who could relate to his sudden change, Doc Hudson, was dead. However, what was not dead was Lightning's resilience, his heart, and his mission to silence his critics by showing he had what it took to hang with the youngsters. So during the race, he gives it his all, trying to catch up to Storm. Then comes the final pit stop.
Come on! Faster, Guido, come on! I gotta get back out there before he does! Guido, hurry up!
To me, this is the saddest scene in the entire movie, as McQueen struggles to hold on to the lead while he gasps for air, something he used to do effortlessly in his prime. Storm catches up to him and passes him as if he was standing still. That's when Lightning knew the wheels of change were already in motion, and his time as a winner on the track had come to an end. What followed still brings tears to my eyes every time I watch it.
McQueen is fading! Fading fast!
Followed by the no that McQueen gives as he still tries to fight through it.
No! No! No!
And push himself to his limit, holding on to past glories, past memories, while he tries to tune out his own self-doubt and the constant doubt of the people around him, to which he suffers a devastating crash. But haven't we all been there? We fought change so much that we end up losing ourselves. My therapist summarized it by saying, we lose ourselves trying to make room for something else. You make an absolute fool of yourself trying to keep that girlfriend or boyfriend who is no longer interested. We try to fit in and presume new toxic identities so we can fit in with a bunch of losers who don't even care about us. We know we need to change, we need to let go, but we decide to fight it. We decide to hold on. And at the end of it all, what happened to Lightning will happen to us, and we crash. The rest of the movie can be summarized as Lightning McQueen going on a journey of self-discovery. To him, he went to find the strength to fight change, but his environment and the people around him showed him that change isn't a bad thing. From Rusty and Dusty, his day one sponsors selling their company Rusty's, in their words, they felt that it was time to move on. And so they sold their company to a younger, more capable individual, and due to the fact that they were getting old as well. Then came Cruz, a trainer at Rusty's that accompanied McQueen during his journey, but she was also secretly a passionate racer who was never given a chance to prove herself ever since she squandered her first race due to fear and self-doubt. Throughout the film, Cruz acts as a sparring partner for McQueen. However, she does everything better than him. Every exercise Smokey gives, Cruz eventually comes out on top. During their last practice race, McQueen almost gets the best of Cruz, but this was short-lived as she eventually passed him with no effort. I believe this was the turning point in McQueen's mentality of trying to fight change, as he realized even after all that training, all that trying, he didn't get better or faster. This realization is brought out beautifully as Mr. Sterling writes off Cruz and tells her she's not a racer, but just a mere trainer, making McQueen pull off from the race and summon Cruz to the pits.
This might be your last chance.
Which makes it my last chance to give you your first chance, Cruz.
The question is, why did Lightning McQueen do this? This was indeed the race that was going to determine whether he was going to continue racing or he was going to retire and become some marketing gimmick. First, we have to travel back to the scene after McQueen's big crash, where he watches footage of Doc's last race in 1954, where he unfortunately crashes and loses his career as people quit on him even if he had a lot left in him. By watching this footage, Lightning didn't want what happened to Doc to happen to him. He didn't want to end up as a washed-up race car that was forced into retirement by the people surrounding the sport. However, he wanted to retire on his own terms, something Doc never did. This was what drove McQueen to train for the race in Florida and seek help from Doc's mentor, Smokey. However, once he met up with Smokey and told him,
All I know is if I lose in Florida, it's over for me. What happened to Doc will happen to me.
Smokey then responded by taking Lightning to his house to show him the truth about Doc Hudson. The truth being, although the crash and the loss of his racing career broke Doc's heart, he found new purpose in coaching and mentoring Lightning McQueen, to where Smokey said,
Racing wasn't the best part of Hud's life. You were.
You see, Doc was still stuck in the past. He kept on resisting the change that happened to him back in 1954. Although painful, the only thing he had to do was accept it and move on. However, he didn't, which made him bitter and angry all the time. However, by helping a young Lightning McQueen, he was able to find purpose, fulfillment, and finally, peace and happiness. I believe after this talk with Smokey, Lightning decided to do the same with Cruz. The lesson being, fighting change is a losing battle, but adapting to change in time will always lead to fulfillment. So don't hold yourself back from being happy by fighting change and time. It happened for a reason, and the sooner you embrace it, the sooner you find meaning in it, the sooner you find fulfillment in it, and the sooner you find happiness in it. You'll be shocked at the amount of people walking around bitter because, just like Doc, they're holding on to the past and consuming their own poison. The last lesson I picked up on throughout the movie was not as direct as the rest, and that is the use of time. In this world we live in today, distractions have taken over our lives. From social media, mindless partying, drugs and alcohol, just to name a few. Most people waste the golden years of their lives doing nothing of value, and by the time they realize it, it's too late. And so they grow old with regret, bitterness, and anger, knowing very well they can't go back and do it all over again. Because life is one ticket per customer. To explain further, when Doc and McQueen were young, they had all the strength and the energy to do incredible things. However, once they got old, the energy was less and their time had come to step down and let the next generation take over. All I can say is, use the time you have wisely and to the fullest of your ability. It's only a matter of time before the inevitable happens and you have to step down. I would like to echo the words of Les Brown as I conclude this video. Imagine that you were on your deathbed, and standing around your bed are the ghosts of the dreams you never accomplished, saying to you, "We came to you, and only you had the power to give us life, but now we must follow you to the grave." Well, ladies and gentlemen, looks like my time here is up. Till next time, always remember to keep trekking, fam.